Good evening. Yeah, happy Teachers' Day to you all. So it's 7. Let's begin with week 5, week 6, sorry, week 6. So we'll start by discussing one question which quite a lot of you raised concerns about in the discussion forum. So last week there was one question where the correlation coefficient was -5 and we selected option B as correct answer, whereas correct answer is option D. So somehow I think while reading the options we eliminated option D instead of option C when we read the options, like upward slope with negative value, upward slope is not possible. So I remember striking off option A cannot be, and I don't know why, but we striked off option D. I don't remember why we striked off option D as well. But whereas option C cannot be true, because with -5 correlation it will never be perfectly straight line. Yeah, so it's either B or D. So to give you an example, so that if there is any confusion because of last week's discussion, so I have plotted some graphs with R values of +8, +5, +3, -8, -5 and -3, and this is no correlation graph. R is equal to 0. Yeah. So our question says R is equal to -5. So scatter plot will look something like this graph. Yeah? Similar to this graph. So there will not be a perfect fit of the straight line, whereas we can call it moderately good fit. Okay. So with this explanation, I will reiterate that option D is correct answer, and also I am giving a disclaimer that attending this session is not an alternative for watching the videos or whatever sir is teaching during that videos. Okay, so whatever I tell could be a human mistake while I'm teaching, because I take this session at the end of the busy day which I have with traveling in the city of Mumbai, given that. So there could be some human mistakes happening. So I'm sorry, yeah. So please don't rely on these sessions alone for solving your assignment problem, but do watch the uh, videos diligently. And if I'm making a mistake, please raise your concern there only, because once when I was not well and we were conducting a session, I remember in confusion matrix I had switched places of two things, and the concern was raised by a couple of you, and we corrected that mistake. So I'll encourage you all to follow that same pattern, because we are very few people, so you can unmute and tell me if I'm making a mistake anywhere. Okay, so I hope this clears the doubt regarding this question. So we will move on to the next week. This week's week 6 content. So this week also the diagnostic analysis continues from previous week. Previous week we had seen correlation and other things. This week we will be again are here at diagnostic analysis, and we will be going ahead with the sequential pattern mining, differential sequence mining and process mining. As the name suggests, these are all data mining techniques. Yeah? But in education setting, we are not we are dealing with only the education data and not non-educational data. So what comes under educational data is students log data from LMS or any open-ended learning system or any online learning system. Yeah, so mostly we will be talking about log data when we are talking about sequential pattern mining, or SPM as the short form suggests, differential sequence mining, or DSM, or process mining, or PM. So all these three techniques, they work well on students log data. That means when we are talking about sequential pattern, that is pattern from the students log data. Okay, differential sequence mining, that means so SPM counts for the common patterns which are more frequently occurring across the learners, all the learners log data, while differential sequence mining are less common occurring patterns. Yeah, or the actions. So what patterns? These patterns will be consisting of learners actions. Okay, so these actions together are considered for SPM, DSM, and process mining. So out of this, we will be quickly looking at process mining and will be revising SPM and DSM. Okay, so there will not be much questions about process mining, questions as in numericals, but there would be conceptual questions about process mining and some numericals about SPM and DSM. Okay, so moving on. So these points are from the questions point of view about the numericals. So there are two matrices which are considered while we do SPM or sequential pattern mining. One is sequence support or S support, and instance support or I support. Yeah, so as name suggests, sequence support captures the number of actions which individual for a group. Yeah, so how many students are performing that particular sequence of actions. So that is sequence support, as the name suggests, by how many students that sequence is supported. Yeah, now instance support is instance support is calculated for a particular action, and then out of the group how many individuals are having that particular pattern is the instance support, instance of that particular pattern. Yeah, okay, so as we do the numericals, these definitions will be more clear. Yeah, so just remember these two questions: how many students are having is the sequence pattern, and how many times that pattern is repeating or that pattern is occurring for each student is part of instance support. Yeah, so instance support mein what happens is, for every student we calculate number of times the pattern is occurring. Yeah, so here there are, so it's not getting updated. Yeah, my screen is not getting updated. Can you all see my screen? इंटरनेट बंद हो गया. चल रहा है इंटरनेट? Hello. Yeah. Am I audible? Okay, great. There seemed to be some internet problem at my end. Okay, so instance support is calculated for individual students, right? As the definition suggests, the number of times pattern is occurring for each student. So it is also collection of some data points, right? As you say, there is number count of pattern for each student. That is what we do for instance support. Yeah, so for this support we also for instance support, I support, we can calculate mean, median, and standard deviation also. As it is number of times, for every pattern it is the answer is set of numbers. Okay, so many of the times questions will be, please calculate I support for and there will be option will be only one number. So at that time we have to add this number and then divide by for how many numbers, for how many students that particular pattern is being observed. Not all the students, only those selected students for whom this pattern is occurring. So here out of 4 students, this pattern is occurring for 3 students because iske liye count is 0. Yeah, so what will be the I support value? It will be 1 plus 2 3 plus 1 4 divided by 3. This will be the I support mean value for this particular pattern. And sequence support will be for 3 students it is observed out of 4 students. So 3 by 4 will be S support and 4 by 3 will be I support. Okay, so even if it is confusing right now, maybe when we deal with the actual example it will be clear. If it is not clear even at that point, you can ask questions there. Okay, so what DSM does is, DSM gets the different patterns of 2 groups. Okay, we divide the learners into different groups and we mine for the frequent patterns and then compare occurrences of those patterns by t-test. Yeah? And we find the significantly different patterns from each other, and yeah, by statistical test such as t-test. And then we find out what are the different patterns for different groups. Okay, so DSM gives insights about how different those two groups are, and SPM gives insight about how similar those two groups are while performing their respective actions in your open-ended learning environment. Yeah? One second, there are some admit requests. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that was the difference between SPM and DSM. Okay. Now process mining. So process mining is pictorial representation. In most of the cases, process mining will result in pictures or a state transition diagram. Okay? Pictorial representation. Or a state transition diagram like representation. It is not state transition diagram, but it looks very similar to state transition diagram. So what it does is it will analyze these sequence of actions and it will try to map them as nodes and edges. So each of the action will be node, events or actions, and the edges are transition. So if a learner is performing read action and after reading they are going to watch the video, and after video watching they are going to answer this quiz. So it will be one node will be read, then after reading they are video watching. So this edge is the transition from read to video watching, and from video watching it will go to quiz. So these are the nodes which correspond to the actions performed, and the edge is the transition between the action. Yeah. So they have significance and correlation as to key matrices. So significance is how important that particular node is. So significance is for both node and edges. So node is action. So how you call how important a particular action is, that means that particular action is occurring more number of times, so that you have to consider it while presenting an abstract representation of the action. Yeah, so pictorial representation, at some time if there are 60 different actions, you can't show all the 60 different actions. So you have to be you have to create one level of abstraction for that representation. So for this abstraction, you can't just randomly choose actions and drop the action. So we consider significance and correlation as the important matrices to make our decision which nodes and which edges to keep in our process model and which not to keep. Yeah. So we consider the nodes and edges which are more frequently occurring into our process model to reduce the complexity, and the same thing for nodes also. And correlation is which two actions are closely related, which two set of actions are occurring more frequently. So say for example, some of the students are going to quiz after reading the text, right? But out of 100 students, only 3 students went to from read to quiz, and rest of the 99 went from video to quiz. So this is really less number compared to 99. So we will drop this node and we will not include it in visual representation. Yeah, so this is how we decide based on significance and correlation what nodes and what edges to keep in our process model and what not to include. So we assume that the actions which are occurring less number of times are don't really matter, or which don't really give us insight about learners' behavior pattern. Okay, so there is just one quiz at the end of the subject. There was no any quiz anywhere in your OEL. So at that time, and it is compulsory, the answering quiz is compulsory, so that the transition from any action to quiz is going to be observed for all the students. Yeah, but it will be observed only once, right? It will occur only once for all the students, so it will not be that significant. OELE is open-ended learning environment. Yeah, like metal, there is a repetitive example in the lecture videos about different one learning environment called metal. Yeah, so yeah, so that's OELE, open-ended learning environment. Yeah. so so that was it. That is how we consider significance and correlation to make our process model more abstract and more comprehensible, so that we are able to make our conclusions about behavior pattern of different learners, which give us more insight, more meaningful insights, right? So compulsory actions may not give us insights about their behavior patterns, or may not help us in improving our teaching learning methods. So that's why we will not consider the actions and the transitions which are occurring fewer number of times compared to the actions which are occurring more frequently, more number of times. Okay. So there is one more thing. Yeah, there is a tool called ProM, which is open source, and that is frequently used to create process mining. Yeah. So ProM is the tool, and there are quite a few mining algorithms which are used under ProM to create the process models. Okay. So now moving on to questions. If there are doubts in any of the topics, we can take it up as we go during the questions. Okay. So we are very few people, so you can raise your hands and unmute if you have any doubt. Okay. So this is regarding definition of sequence support or S support. So option A says it indicates the frequency of occurrence of a pattern for each student. Option B says it indicates the number of students having a particular pattern. Option C says it indicates the number of students not having a particular pattern. And option D says it indicates the total number of patterns observed for a particular student. So what do you think is the correct answer? Option B, right? Okay. So as the definition says, it is the number of students which are having a particular pattern. Yeah, that's the correct answer. So we shall move on to the next question. There does not seem to be any doubt because it's straightforward. Okay, so question 2, what do you mean by instant support or I support? Oh great, I'm getting answers in the chat box. That's good. It indicates frequency of occurrence of pattern for each student. It indicates number of students having particular pattern. It indicates number of students not having particular pattern. It indicates a total number of patterns observed for a particular student. Option, yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So no doubt here, I suppose, because all the answers in the chat box are also correct answers. That is option A. Yeah, so moving on to question 3. There is a sequence of actions given for student 1, S1, S2 and S3 for question 3, 4 and 5. The question goes, consider 3 students' interaction behavior in MOOCs as below. Okay, so these are different actions which are performed. Okay, now we will check the question 3. Question 3 asks find the value of S support for the pattern forum to quiz close to 2 decimal points. Okay, so we will count forum to quiz, frequency of forum to quiz. Okay, so forum to quiz. Okay. So 1, forum read quiz, video quiz, quiz forum. So 0, read video quiz, read video, forum quiz and forum quiz. So 2, right? And how many number of times, for how many students this pattern is observed, total number of students, 1 and 2. Okay? So S support is, what should we consider, this or this for calculating S support? The set of numbers or the total number of students for which this is observed? Which should we consider for S support? Let us call this option A and let us call this option B. You can type in chat box, what should we consider? Yeah, total number of students. So option B. Yes, total number of students divided by how many students are there in total. So there are 3 students in total. So this is 2 by 3, which comes to 0.666. So that should be the answer. Yeah, 67. So option D is the correct answer. Shrinanda, it's not B. Answer is option D. For S support, we divide the number of students for which this pattern is observed by the total number of students. Yeah, because the definition says number of individual action sequences for a group where the sequence of action occurs at least once. Yeah, so for whom it has occurred at least once. Yeah, so for how many students this has occurred at least once? 1 and 2 students out of 3 students. So that's why 2 by 3. Oh, okay, previous slide. Okay, fine. So 2 by 3 is the 0.67. Okay. So moving on to question 4. Question 4 asks for I frequency for forum to quiz. Okay, so let's go back to the page where we had calculated. So I frequency, how we will calculate I frequency? We will add numbers from this observations. How many times for what is the frequency of that pattern for each student? Yeah, so 1 plus 0 plus 2, which comes to 3, divided by, for how many students it was observed? 2. So 3 divided by 2. This will be the answer. So 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Okay, is it clear? Yeah, I'll repeat it. Sure. So let's go back to the definition of S support. Yeah. So S support says the number of individual action sequences for a group that the sequence of action occurs at least one. In plain English, that means for how many students that particular pattern is observed. For how many students that particular pattern is observed out of all students. Okay, I will add here out of all students. So we come here and check how many times forum to quiz transition has happened. For S1 it has happened once. For S2 it is not observed at all. For S3 it has happened twice. Yeah, so we note it down. Let's note down here 1, 0 and 2. And how many students out of 3? Like total number of students is 3. For how many students out of 3 is this observed? For 2 students, right? So that's why S support is the number of times the pattern is occurring at least once. So how many times it is occurring at least once? For 2 students. So that means S support is 2 divided by 3, total number of times. Out of all, for how many times it is happening at least once is 2. So that's why it is 2 by 3. Yeah. So Saurabh has something to say. I frequency mean is equal to total frequency of patterns across all instances and total number of instances. Yes, that's correct. Huh? Yeah, yes, please go ahead. Yes, yes. Also we find out how many times it is occurring, what is the average number of times this is occurring. So correlation and S support are very close, very similar. The importance of any node or any action is how many times it is occurring. So if one particular action sequence is occurring more number of times, that means that particular action sequence or that particular transition, you can't skip that transition while you are representing these sequence pictorially or through a state transition diagram. So in that case we find it for the transition. Yeah, so mostly we want to consider the transitions, right? The sequence of actions. Here we are talking about patterns, no? So we say for example forum read, so we will count how many times forum read is observed. So forum read is observed only once. So and see, one thing you have to keep in mind, we actually drew the state transition diagram last week. So this is very different, like pattern mining is different than drawing a state transition diagram. A state transition diagram is done for a single student, but here when we deal about patterns, when you want to mine for the patterns, you have to consider all the students together. You can't do it for individual student. Otherwise, if you have 60 students in the class, you can come up with 60 different state transition diagrams or 60 different pictorial representations, but that will not be easy to interpret. When you want to come up with something which will represent your class as a whole, then you mine for the patterns and consider the actions which are occurring more frequently. So for those things, these methods are used. Yeah, all the videos are there on Swayam platform, I think. Yeah, even those links are available on Swayam platform itself. Yeah, so yeah, that's why I'm trying to, for a particular student. Yeah, I got that. That's why I'm telling you that for a particular student, this is not the correct method to consider individual student. So this is part of these things you calculate for entire class, yeah, and not for one particular student. Because see, when we want to mine for the pattern, it's not wise to consider just one individual. You have to club all the individuals together, and then you have to see which all transitions are happening more frequently for everyone. Yeah, so this was for S support. Now let's come back to this thing. Yeah, I support. So I support says, let's go to definition of I support. Yeah, so I support says the number of times the pattern occurs within an action sequence for individual in the particular group. Okay, so in plain English, a number of times pattern is occurring for each student. So we have counted the number of times a particular pattern is occurring for each student here, 1, 0, 2. Yeah, this is the count of that particular, how many times that particular sequence is occurring for these students. So, and for how many students this is occurring at least once, 1 and 2. Yeah, so for 2 students this is observed only once. For S2, the transition between forum to quiz is not at all observed. Yeah, forum to read is absent there. So that means just 2 students are having that particular transition or that particular sequence. So that means 2. So how you will do is, you will add these. 1 plus 0 plus 2 is 3. So I support will be 3 divided by 2, because for 2 students it is getting observed. So it will be 3 divided by 2. Yeah? So I support mean will be 1.5. And yeah, so is this clear now? Yeah, so Saurabh, to come to your formula is correct. The total number of instances. So total number of instances is 2. How many times those instances have occurred is 3. But for how many students this instance was observed is the total, that thing, no? So that is 3. For how many students? It is not total number of instances, but it is total number of students for whom that instance was observed. So that total number of students is 2, for whom that particular instance from forum to quiz was observed. So that's why it is 3 by 2 and not 3 by 3. So that's why the option becomes 1.5. The correct answer is 1.5. So don't get confused. We consider dividing by total number of students in S support. In I frequency, the number of students for whom the pattern is observed. and number of times the pattern is observed. And S support is number of students pattern is for whom the pattern is observed divided by total number of students. So this was the 102 and we had total n is equal to 3 students. So 102, that was the observation which we made for a particular pattern of forum to quiz transition. So this was observed for S1, S2 and S3. So S1 and S3 had that particular pattern. Okay, so this count becomes 2. Yeah, for 2 students this pattern was observed. That means the S support becomes 2 by 3. Yeah, and I becomes, sorry, S becomes, yeah, and I comes out to be 1 plus 0 plus 2, which is 3, divided by 2. For how many students this was observed? 3 divided by 2. Okay, is it clear? I hope now there is no confusion. Shall we move on? Just give one thumbs up or something. Yeah, Yashriya? Yes, absolutely correct. Yeah. So out of these 3 students, there are just 2 students for whom that particular pattern is observed. So that's why we divide the number of time pattern was observed, divide by that total number of students for whom the pattern is observed, and not all the students. Okay, and all the students, that comes into S support. Like for how many students that pattern was observed, divide by all the students, the number of all students. That will give you S support. Okay, we move on to the next thing. So now Gayatri ji had one doubt, and regarding like how we decide which is significant and which is not. So maybe doing this exercise will make your answer more clearer. Yeah, so this question says that during a pattern mining, if researcher decides to retain the patterns having S support value greater than 0.65, which of the following patterns are discarded? Yeah, so what we will do is we will make observations for all these patterns. Okay, so first is read to video. Okay, so let's go to this page and let's calculate let's observe read to video transitions, the number of times, how many times read to video is happening. Sorry, yeah, read quiz, read video once for S1, read video once for S2, and read video 1 and 2. Yeah, so twice for S3, 1 and 2. So let us write here 1 and 2. Okay, and now that means it was observed for how many students? All 3 had this pattern, like S1, S2 and S3. So 3 students. Now let us do quiz to read count. So quiz to read, sorry, quiz to read, quiz to video. There is no quiz to read for S1. Okay, quiz to video, quiz to forum. There's no quiz to read transition for S2 also. Okay, quiz to read, yeah, 1 here, and quiz to read 2 here. Yeah, so it is 0, 0, 2. Yeah, so let us make notes of 0, 0, 2. So tell me for how many students this is observed. Now this pattern is observed. 1 student. Very good. Now let's go to forum to quiz transition. Now let us count how many times forum to quiz is happening. Let me change the color. Okay, forum to quiz, right? Forum to quiz. Forum to quiz once. Forum to quiz 0. Forum to quiz once and twice. 2. So 1 0 2. We had already done that. Okay, so this is here 1 0 2. 2 students it was observed. Now let's go to quiz to forum. Yeah? Quiz to forum. Let us change the color. Which color? Red. Okay, quiz to forum, right? Quiz to video 0. Quiz to video, quiz to forum 1. Then quiz to read again 0, right? So 0 1 0 0 1 0. And here what should I write? For how many students this was observed? 1. Very good. Very good. Yeah, so S support we have to calculate. So total number of n was 3, right? There was S1, S2 and S3. So what will be S support for this? 3 divided by 3. 3 from here and this denominator 3 from here. For quiz to read transition, it is 1 because this pattern is observed for 1 student out of n, which is 3. So this is 1 by 3 is 0.33. This is 2 by 3 because 2 comes from here and 3 comes from here. So 2 by 3 0.66 or 667, 33 here becomes 333. 0. This is 1 student, so 1 by 3 it becomes against 333. Yeah, so our condition is S support value should be greater than 0.65. So we will consider only those transitions which have S support value greater than 0.65, which are this 1 and 0.67, which is forum to quiz. Quiz to. Okay, I'm confused. Okay, the question is which of the following patterns will be discarded? Which of the following pattern is discarded, not considered? I'm sorry. So which of the following patterns will be considered? Discarded, not considered. Which of the following patterns will be discarded? Right. So option B and D, these two will be discarded. Yeah. Arumuga, requesting you to please mute because there's a lot of background noise coming from your end. Yeah. So these two patterns will be discarded. Quiz to read and quiz to forum. Because their S support value is 0.33 and 0.33. Okay. Moving on to next question. So for question 6 and 7, these are based on this table. Yeah, the data points are too many, that's why the table is smaller. See, kindly zoom in to see because I was not able to fit in with higher font size. Yeah. Okay, so this table gives information about the patterns observed for 3 students while they were interacting with the learning system. Okay, so this is the number of times they have observed, so we don't even need to count for how many students this was happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add these patterns for calculation of S support with this red pen. Yeah, so for video to video it is 0, video to read it is 2, video to quiz 2, this is 4, 4, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 0 1 0 2 3 0. So this makes our life easier, because if we have to calculate S support, what we will do, our n is 3, right? Total number of students is 3. So now tell me, for this pattern, what will be the S support? 0 divided by, I'm interested in this denominator number, okay? Even though it is 0, it will be 0. But what will come in denominator is what I wanted to hear. So this is 2 by 3, 2 by 3, 3 by 3, 3 by 3, 1 by 3, 2 by 3, 1 by 3, 2 by 3, 1 by 3, 0, 1 by 3, 0, 2 by 3, 2 by 3 and 0. Okay, so this is the S support. And I support will be, for this it will be 0, right? For first it will be 0. For second pattern, what it will be? We will count how many number of times this pattern is observed. 2 times. No, it will not be 3 by 2. We have counted the number of times, like here I have added the, I have written the summation of how many times this pattern was observed, total number of times it was observed. So that was observed 2 times divided by this 2. So 2 divided by 2. Yeah, Niva, you're right, it is 1. 2 divided by 2. Okay, so here also 2 divided by 2. Here it will be 4 divided by 3. This 4 divided by this 3. 4 divided by 3. Similarly here it will be 4 divided by 3. It will be 1 divided by 1. यहाँ पे it will be 2 divided by 2. 1 divided by 1. This 1 divided by this 1. This 2 divided by this, this 3 divided by this 2. So 3 divided by 2. This 2 divided by 1. 2 by 1. 0. 1 by 1. 0. 2 by 2, 3 by 2 and 0. Okay, I support, as the definition suggests, the number of times a particular pattern is observed in the entire log data of all the students. So that is here, like if we consider forum to quiz transition, then 1 plus 0 plus 2. That is 3 number of times this transition was observed in the entire log for all 3 students. But out of these 3, only 2 had these pattern. So it will be 3 divided by 2. Out of these 2, for how many times this particular thing was observed is 3 divided by 2. Okay, so this is the, we have calculated S support for all the patterns and I support for all the patterns. Okay, so now let's go to the question. Question 6 says, among the patterns occurring among only one student, which is the most significant pattern? Okay, so we have to consider only one student, which is observed only for one student, which is, let me change the pen color, let us do blue. Patterns observed for one student. Patterns observed for one student. Okay. Quiz forum, quiz read forum, and read. So out of this, which has most significant? That means we have to look for the S support, which has the highest S support out of these 3. Everything is 1 by 3, is it? Yeah, 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3. So we move on to I support value. Yeah, I support value is 1. It is 1 by 2, 1.5, 2 and 1. Okay. Okay, so question 6 is, which is the highest value? 2 is the highest, right? Quiz read should be the answer. Let's go and check the options. Quiz read is option C. So option C should be the correct answer. I support value for second is wrong. Which pattern? I support Which pattern can you say? Vinuta, which pattern? Can you type or you can unmute and answer? No, I did not understand. Can you repeat? Quiz forum. Yeah, read forum. Okay, read forum. Oh, okay. Yeah. 1 by 2. It should be 1 by 1, right? Hmm. Yeah, 1 1. Yeah, 1 by 1. Wait, I have to undo. One by one. Again, I have to undo this 0.5. But still, this won't change our answer. Yeah, it is still, yeah, still the I support value is higher for quiz to read. Yeah, so thankfully our answer remains the same, option C. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, okay. So going on to question 7, among all the patterns, which is or are most significant patterns? Okay, so let us make a table. Yeah, let us S support and I support. Yeah. Quiz to forum. What is the value for quiz to forum? Which is 1 by 3 and 1. Yeah. 1 by 3 and 1. Forum to quiz. Forum to quiz. Forum quiz. 2 by 3 and 3 by 2. 2 by 3 and 3 by 2. Read to video. Read video. Read video 3 by 3 and 4 by 3. 3 by 3 and 4 by 3. Video to forum. Video to forum. 3 by 3 and 4 by 3. Yeah, correct. 3 by 3 and 4 by 3. So it is 0.33. It is 0.67. 1 1 1 3 by 2 1.5. 4 by 3 is 1.33. Again 1.33. So if you see the combination of both S support and I, so first what we will do is we will filter the S support. S support is higher for these two patterns. Yeah, S support seems to be 1 and 1 for read to video and video to forum, and this is also significantly higher, even though this has 1.5, but it is not observed for all 3 students, right? So that's why considering them in combination makes us we think that forum plus quiz is not observed for all students, not observed for all, whereas this is, with this combination, these two patterns, read to video and video to forum, are observed for all the students with I support greater than 1.33. Yeah, so the correct answer seems to be C and D. Yeah, read to video and video to forum. Yeah, forum to quiz is not observed for all students, whereas read to video and video to forum is observed for all the students. Yeah, so some actions which are observed for all the students, and they are observed for many number of times, so these all are observed 4 number of times and for all 3 students. Yeah, whereas forum to quiz is observed only for 2 students and 3 number of times. Yeah, so that means if we want to consider most significant, that means which are most important, which will give us more details about how they are behaving or how they are performing actions, is this read to video transition and video to forum, because forum to quiz is not performed by that one student. Yeah, so that is how we consider. Yeah, if we want to think from probability point of view, then yes, you can say that out of three students, only two students are doing this. So in future, it is possible that not all the students will perform this action. If we increase our n from 3 to 30, then almost 10 students will not be performing this forum to quiz action, whereas all 30 will be performing this read to video and video to forum. Yeah, so we can make our decision based on S support, and when S support is same, then we can move on to I support to see which is more significant pattern. Yeah, so basic filtration will happen at S support, because S support will tell us for how many students it is happening. Yeah, yes, Srinanda, look at the table. Yeah, for how many students it is observed, how many students that particular pattern is happening. Yeah, number of students having that pattern as mentioned over here. So these number is higher, that means that particular pattern is observed for those many students, so their n is 3. So if we consider this table as a whole, like this table as all the patterns, we have to find the most significant pattern out of these all action sequences, then we should consider the actions which are observed for all three students. So that means we will see for all three, this is the first action, like video to forum, and then with 3 read to video. So these are like two actions which are observed for all. Then they have S support of 1. Yeah, one S support value can't go beyond 1. 1 is the highest value which S support can have, between 0 to 1, whereas I support can go up above and beyond 1. Yeah, so this is 3 and so 1 and 1. Then here this 4 by 3 1.33 is also same for both the patterns. So these two patterns are more significant, or the most significant out of all the patterns. Okay? Video to forum and read to video. Yes, Shreya? Yeah, I support. Yes. When the S support value, because what S support tells us is for how many students that particular pattern is observed. So if that particular pattern is observed for more number of students, that means that particular pattern is significant, more significant compared to the patterns which are observed for less number of students. So when we want to decide about significance, so significance is important. So how you will decide a particular pattern is important or not? We will see for how many students that particular pattern is observed. So if that number is also same, then we move on to I support, like out of those group, in that group, how many times per student that particular pattern is getting observed. So I support is within that group, how many times a particular pattern is getting observed per students. So that frequency will give us more frequent patterns. So more frequent, that means more important for our analysis. Yeah. This is the formula which I wrote down for you guys. So S support is for how many students that particular pattern was observed, right? And I support is out of those observed students, yeah, what is the per student frequency of that particular action pattern. So how you will get per student frequency? How many number of times that pattern is observed in total, divided by number of students for whom that pattern was observed. Yeah, so that will give you I support, and S support is for how many students that is getting observed. Yes, please go ahead. Okay. Again, we see that how many times it is observed. You can't have, yeah, the same thing which I told Gayatri ji. You can't have this significance or this importance for one student or one, yeah, for one node. You can see how many times that forum is getting accessed, so that you have observed here na. So there will be a sequence. Let's consider this. Yeah, let's consider this thing. So you know that forum was observed one number of times, two number of times, so it was observed twice. So forum how many times? One times and two times, so twice. So forum how many times? So instead of that transition, we will calculate the single node, na? So this is also twice. So two number of times this is observed for all the students, all three students. So it will have 2, 2, 2 and 3. So S support value will be 3 by 3, 1, because it is observed for all three students. And I support value will be 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6. 6 divided by 3, 2. Yeah? So, yeah. Significance is actually out of 1. So this talks about relative frequency. You will calculate this I support for everyone, and we will see the node which is getting repeated or which is having highest this value which we calculated here, that will become 1, and then we will divide all the other numericals by that number. So it is that significance in process model particularly is relative frequency. Since it is too much complications, that's why there are no numericals asked in process model. You would have observed in the assignment, because it is quite difficult to grasp, and when there are more actions, it is even difficult to calculate, because when we are considering different n set of nodes, n number of nodes, that means for every n we have to calculate the frequency, and we have to see which is occurring the most number of times, and then we have to assign that as 1 and then calculate the relative frequency. So that significance level is always between 0 and 1. Yeah, yes, Gayatri ji. Okay, yeah, so I've shown you how to do it for one variable. I think that should help. Okay. But I think instead of transition, you can consider one single node and count how many times it is occurring, and do the same process of getting S support and I support value, I frequency value. I told now, just now, we considered forum, and yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so correlation and significance could be two parameters, they would have asked. Yeah, yeah. So, okay. So they might have asked significance of a particular node. So significance is you calculate all the nodes, what are different nodes you see. So yeah, so in this example, there is video, read, quiz, forum. These are the distinct actions which are observed, right? So video, read, quiz and forum and quiz. Yeah, so I'm just asking you identify what are different actions which are performed. What are distinct actions which are performed? Like for transition, we considered only forum to quiz, but now we have to consider what are different actions. So your question was regarding quiz, right? So we just counted anything. So you count how many number of times that particular node is observed for each student. Yeah, this is just like here we counted number of times a pattern is occurred. So similarly, we will count the number of times the node is occurring, and we will make a note of this. So say for example, video 1, 2 and 3. So for video, it is 3 times. In this sequence, 1, 2, 3. through 3 times. Yeah, video is occurring 3 times for this sequence. 1 2 2 times. Yeah, so it is occurring 2 times. Yeah, so what we can say is for every student it is observed. Yeah, so it is 3 3 and 2 observed for all 3. So S support will be 3 by 3, which is 1, and this will be 3 plus 3 6 plus 2 8, 8 divided by 3. Yeah, so this I frequency would be 8 divided by 3, and this is 1. So if you see that significance is for all the different nodes, what is the significance, that will give you some number which will tell you, like say for example here in this number where we had prepared this particular thing, what is the S support. So we calculated S support here, so we could arrange them in the ascending and descending order. So if we want to arrange them in ascending order here, so 0.33, this is Q to F, then 0.33 Q to R, then this forum to quiz, F to Q. Yeah, and then lastly with 1 read to video. Yeah, this is 1, so this is most frequent. So we'll now also calculate the 4 I support, 2 3 and 1 divided by 3 divided by 1 divided by 2 divided by 1. So this has value of 1 point, no, this is read to video, yeah, 1.33. Then forum to quiz has 1.5. Then which is quiz to read is 0.33, and this is also 0.33. Sorry. Yeah, so this is the value. So what we will do is we will assign, this is the maximum. How come this is maximum? Yeah, this is the like the frequency which is getting observed for this is yeah. So we'll divide this by that number. Okay, I'm sorry for confusing you. Wait. Yeah, Saurabh, whatever explanation you said is right. Instead of considering these nodes, I should have considered a single example of just one student and given it to you. Yeah. So what I will do now is I will consider just one example, or we can copy from this video read quiz, or yeah, let us copy S1. Yeah, video read quiz. Sorry, video read quiz. This I remember I have done when we were doing the state transition diagram. Forum read. Yeah, considering individual students and then getting the significance. Read video forum quiz. Read video forum and quiz. Okay. So video, read, quiz and forum are 4 different actions. So we calculate number of times video is observed, 1, 2 and 3. Read 1, 2 and 3. Quiz 1 and 2. Forum 1 and 2. Yeah? So how we calculate for each node is, this is the highest number of times a thing is occurring. Yeah? A node is occurring. So this is 3 by 3 1, 3 by 3 1, 2 by 3, 2 by 3. So significance of node is relative to occurrences of other nodes, how many times that particular node is occurring. Yeah, and same thing goes for edges. Every individual edge frequency is counted, and then we divide that by highest number. So if we want to consider for nodes, then we consider V to R to R to Q, Q to V, V to F forum, then F to R to V is not considered, so R to V, V to F, yeah, V to F, F to Q, no, not there, so F to Q, and we calculate how many times this is occurring. Yeah, so forum to quiz is occurring just one time, so this is 1. Read to video, yeah, read to video just once, so 1. Video to read once, 1. Read to read once, 1. Read to quiz once. Quiz to video, how many times quiz to video is happening? Once. Video to forum, once and once. Twice, no? Video to forum is happening twice. Then okay, forum to read is not observed at all, but I think we missed this one thing, no? Quiz to video, is it observed? Yeah, read to video is there. Yeah, forum to quiz once, then yeah, F to R once, then read to video, yeah, once. It is also happening once. Okay, so the highest number of times which a node has or edge has happened is twice, so this will have significance of 1, and rest of the edges will have significance of 1 by 2, because this we considered 1, so we'll divide all the things by 2, 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 1 by 2. So this, if we draw a state transition diagram for this or a process model for this, all other edges will have significance of half or 0.5, and only video to forum, which is happening twice, video to forum will have significance of 1. And similarly, node of video and node of read will have significance of 1. Okay? Yeah, now it is clear? Yeah, sorry for confusion because we were not getting answer because I was considering all the students here. Yeah, only for one student. Yeah. Okay, now let us take what Anjana is saying. I'm unable to understand LXT 6.1 pattern mining. I have uploaded files on Google Colab, but unable to understand. Okay, what exactly you have done in pattern mining, that I don't know. Maybe we can come back to such questions at the end of the this thing, no? Once we are done with the assignment. Yeah, because we have yet 8, 9 and 10 3 questions remaining, so Anjana, please hold on to that, and maybe you will have to show me the code to understand. And you have to explain me in detail what you have not understood, so maybe we'll take this up once I'm done with remaining 3 questions. Okay, yeah. So question 8 says a behavior pattern is observed among number of students as given below. So what is this? So this is this frequency which we note down, so this thing which we note down, how many times for all the students a particular action or a particular sequence is observed. It is that. So that is behavior pattern for a particular action. Now choose the correct option for above distribution pattern. So as I had suggested that we can, for I frequency, we have a set of observations, and these observations are always a whole number. So we can do statistical we can consider mean, median, standard deviation, etc. for this set of numbers. which are part of high frequency observation. Yeah. So there is a clear, I think sir would have included this in his presentation also. When he talks about high frequency, he makes sure to point out that we can consider mean, median and SD, and he also discusses in which situations we have to use mean and in which situation we have to go for median. Yeah, so he has clearly stated that when there are skewed data with us, if we calculate mean of this thing, so this is observed for all 5 students, right? 5 students, and if we try to come up with the high frequency, then 20 plus 1, 3, 4 and 5, so 25. So 25 divided by 5 will give us 5, whereas this is not observed 5 times for these rest of the 4 students, right? It is nowhere near their count, like 1 2, their count is 1 and 2. So in that case our significance will not be correct, our consideration will actually not lead to a correct representation of the log data which we have. Hence in such case we should consider median. So median in this case is 1, which is occurring thrice. So this I support value for this is not I frequency value is not the I frequency mean, but it is I frequency median for skewed data. So how do we know it is skewed data? Because there's one value which is way off with the rest of the observations. Yeah, so that's why this data set is skewed data set, and for skewed data set we have to use the median. Yeah, yes, Srinanda. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, so this is the distribution of like normal distribution. Okay, so in normal distribution 60% of the data is within 2 standard deviation. Yeah,
Standard 2 and standard
2 SD. Yeah, of course. So standard deviation is high, that means the data is not normally distributed, right? You agree with that? If the SD value is high, way higher than mean value, that means our data is not normally distributed. So that means it is skewed. So it could be skewed to the left, it could be skewed to the right. We can't tell unless we have the look at the data. Yeah, so in such cases we are supposed to use median. Okay, so I'm again asking you, what was your exact doubt? Oh, for that you have to do the introduction to statistics course anyway. Then you will understand, because there is that Monte Carlo simulation which will help you understand if that is, and there is a one more parameter called kurtosis. So kurtosis parameter will give you the left right skewedness, the idea about whether it is left skewed or it is right skewed. Yeah, so there is one parameter or one thing called kurtosis. So this kurtosis parameter tells us whether the given distribution is left skewed or right skewed. No, not with the mean and SD. Of course not with the mean and SD. With mean and SD, because in statistics we considered that it is equally distributed. The normal curve, the bell curve is there, existing. That is the assumption of the whole statistics. So when mean and SD are coming, that will not give us any idea about whether your data is lying here or lying here. Yeah, so okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So try to look for what's that? I forgot. Wait, let me Google. What is this? One second. There was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Wait. Yeah, maybe we can take it up. I will look on the internet because this what the question you are asking is the part of statistics course. How to get. There is a relationship between mean and statistics. So mean, statistics, and variance are all related to each other. So with that thing, you can actually go. So variance will give you an idea about how these things are. Okay. Okay. Is that part of any video question or it is part of some LXA? No, no, I'm asking this is question. It is part of some LXI or it is part of video? Okay. Okay, yeah, sure, that would be great. 37, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, okay. So I will go back, watch that video, and maybe next week we can take this up. Okay, so I have noted down the lecture number here. So, yeah. So, yeah, ठीक है. I will just go and see, and if I'm also not understanding, I'll write an email to sir to asking him to explain this thing. Yeah. So Shreya, I rediscussed that problem in the beginning of today's lecture before I begin with explanation of this week. So I'll be sharing this PDF with you, so you can go through that PDF. That PDF has the example scatter plot and how B is the correct answer. And I also apologized for that mistake. Yeah. Question 9 is also very straightforward. Which of the following algorithm is used for developing process model? Yeah. So as I had told before, ProM is the tool which is used for coming up with the process model. Yeah. Tool used for creating process models. It is not algorithm. It is the tool. It is a software which helps us in creating the process models. Yeah. And alpha minor, heuristic minor, and fuzzy minor are all algorithms. Okay, so don't get confused. These minor, the words ending in minor are all algorithm, and ProM is the process modeling tool. So the correct answers are B, C, and D, and not PROM. Okay, Shreya, I think now your doubt is clear. You want to change your answer? You have said PROM. So the question is asking for algorithms. Yeah, so these three are algorithms and PROM is the tool. Yeah, that was the tool. Okay, so coming to last question. Last question is the definition. Dash dash support captures the number of individual action sequences for the group where that sequence of actions occurs at least once. So that means we are counting number of students. Individual action sequences, that means the number of students where that sequence of actions was observed at least once. So it is the definition of sequence support or S support. the option A is correct answer. Yeah. So I had asked somebody to hold on to their doubt till the, yeah, Anjana found your doubt. Okay. So we have reached end of the assignment. I am unable to understand LXT 6.1 pattern mining. I have uploaded the files on Google Colab but unable to understand output. Okay, yeah. So I'll be needing to see your output. So try sharing the screen. Let me stop my screen share. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just, yeah, I'm just starting, I'm just figuring out how to stop my screen share. Okay, so I'll just try to, hey. Yeah, actually it's visible. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so your okay, so this seemed there is some error. Your code was not run error free. Okay, Python input cell line SPM of priority SPM run. Okay, called process error. So it seems that your SPMF package was not installed. It looks like that because it is not identifying that run command, it seems. Then why it is not identifying the run, because it is saying error called process error. Yeah, so they are not able to call this run process, so run ही नहीं हो रहा है code. That's why you are not getting. Oh, observe ना. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Right. No. No, so I don't have these files with me. I will ask the course TAs to share that files with me. So I don't have access to the week's content as well. Yeah. So what we can do is I will ask TAs to share the files with me, and in the beginning of next week's session, we can have this demo before, and then we can begin. Okay. And have you tried asking that in the forum question? In the forum? Yeah, so raise this point in the forum. Yeah, so maybe TAs will help you out there. Yeah, can somebody then show me the input files? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just show me the input file. Hmm. 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 Right. So can you guys show me the files? Yeah, sure, sure. No worries. Hmm. Okay. Okay, this seems easy. So it should give, it is SPM, no? So output should be patterns along with the p values and something like that. Is it coming like any one of you is able to run it? Any one of you is able to get the output file? Because this is just for 5 students. So. Hmm. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, but you can like confirm that whether it was giving some numbered pattern along with the p values, or yeah, yeah, p values and support. Hmm. And then difference between those support values. So maybe sometimes it will give you p values also. I don't know what kind of code that is, this thing. But what a priori does is it will have some assumptions. So as Shrinanda said, they are considering the gap value, maybe that is making difference. Yeah, because this is txt. So is that code converting that txt file to csv file? Then that comma separated. So where is that comma happening? Whether it is happening before the space between the two things or after the space between the two things, that could also lead to different patterns, you know. So space and number and space are two different, like ASCII values will be different. So it will be a different pattern. So maybe Srinanda, you can tell how to run that code error free in Colab. Hmm. You see, that will be part of Colab error ना, जो आपको error मिल रहा था ना, वहाँ पे वो कुछ बोलेगा कि ये particular package में there is some error और यहाँ पे there is something. So Shrinanda is referring to that thing. Yeah, so this error is happening at line number 526, you know, raise process error in this subprocess.py. So this file, you know, ये जो फाइल है यहाँ पे आपका, यहाँ पे यूज़र लाइब्रेरी python 3 सब प्रोसेस डॉट पाई. सो उसके लाइन नंबर 526 में देर इज सम एरर. प्लीज कॉल प्रोसेस रेड कोड एंड प्रोसेस एरर्स आउटपुट एरर. ओके, सो आप उस वहाँ पे जाके मे बी चेक द टाइप ऑफ एरर, क्योंकि कोलैब में एंड में वो भी आता है, यू नो, यू कैन चेक इन योर एरर्स एंड ट्राई टू रेक्टिफाई दैट यूजिंग स्टैक ओवरफ्लो. सो मे बी यू कैन सर्च स्टैक ओवरफ्लो टू गेट द आंसर टू योर एरर. या could be because see there are jar file मतलब java की files है and they are getting called by in python. So things are getting complicated. Yeah, I agree, things are complicated. So jar will have java, so make sure your जैसे spmf install किया वैसे ही latest version of java also keep it installed. So maybe your java is not up to date, उसके कारण error आ रहा होगा. Just a random guess, but raise this point in forum. Maybe TS can help you out with running off this thing. Yeah, but one hunch is that since it is python and jar file both, so make sure that your python is also python 3 and above, and java also, java version भी update करके and then try running it again. Yeah, but Colab is for Python, not for Java. Yeah, Colab is for Python. So you want to run some file other than Python, then I don't know what is the process, because I've always worked only with Python on Colab. And as far as I know, Colab is just for Python. I'm not sure if we can run any other languages in Colab that smoothly. Yeah, as smoothly we can run Python code. Yeah, so that'll be a suggestion. Yeah, I will discuss. I will try. Yeah, we can take it up. Yeah, sure. I will take this up with sir. I will write an email to him. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think we are done with the session. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I will close this session for now, and we'll meet next week. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.